So what does an astrologer do with a birth chart? Well, I'm just sitting at my desk where I usually look up birth charts. And so there's actually a chart on my screen. And so birth chart is basically a diagram of the sky at the moment you were born or the moment you might ask a question to an astrologer. And so what we're doing is we're taking this map of the sky, putting in this electronic software, basically putting the date, the time, the location, the exact details, and the software then generates a map of the sky at the time of an event or the time somebody was born. And what the astrologer is doing is seeing the sky from these 12 different dimensions. You could say 12 different constellations or 12 zodiac signs. And each zodiac sign has its own energy. Like Aries is very forceful, dynamic energy. Taurus is more stable, grounded energy. Gemini is more of a interactive, sort of communicative kind of energy. So we're seeing where are those energies relative to the rising sign, which I talked about in the first video, right? So depending on your rising sign, there's a particular sign that's there or constellation that's there. And then the rest of the sky has these different constellations all the way around the sky that then give different energies to different parts of the sky. And each part of the sky represents a different area of your life. So for instance, if Aries is a very dynamic, forceful, pushy energy, and it happens to rule this part of the sky that's overhead, that is your career house, the 10th house of career, then you're going to say, oh, the person has a very dynamic, pushy kind of nature when it comes to career. Oh, this is interesting. I have a black bird just sit outside my window right here staring at me, a crow. That's a great omen. So crow is connected to Saturn. Saturn is about detail. So I'm getting a communication from the universe that I need to be very detailed in what I talk about here. So yes, each sign has a very specific energy. Each star, zodiac constellation has very specific energy. An astrologer is mapping to see where those sign or constellation energies are influencing what part of the sky relative to when you were born. Then there's also the planets. Each planet has its own kind of energy. Aries is an energy of a constellation that is dynamic and pushing and aggressive. The ruler of Aries is Mars, but Mars as a planet, wherever it is in the chart, Mars has its own energy of willpower and strength and courage and getting things done. So we want to see, where is Mars located? Where is Jupiter located, the planet of wisdom? Where is Saturn located, the planet of discipline and focus and organization? So what an astrologer is doing is saying, okay, let me pull this map of the sky. Let me see what constellation is in what location, and then what planet is in what location, within what sign, and influencing what area of life. So it sort of becomes a step-by-step look at saying, hey, here's your birth chart. Here's when you were born. Here's the constellation on the eastern horizon that determines your chart. And then you might tell me as a client about an area of life that you're struggling with. You say, you know what, I'm really struggling with my relationship. Well, then I would look at the 7th house, which is a section of sky on the western horizon. I'd see what constellation is there and what constellation, that energy of that constellation is in that area of life for you, marriage, and if there's a planet there. So let's say the sign ends up being Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn is a bit dry energy, a bit practical and logical. So I'll say, hey, there's this dry, practical energy in the Western horizon connected to the area of life, connected to relationships and marriage, right? But then if I see, let's say, the planet Venus there, which is the planet of love and comfort and happiness, then I'll try to combine those two meanings. I'll say, okay, in the area of sky connected to relationships, the sign that rules it is this energy, but the planet that's there is also casting its energy, and that planet is of love and harmony. So you may find that through proper structure and proper boundaries set, you'll find a lot of love and harmony and comfort. Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, that omen I just had outside the window. Saturn is about boundaries and setting the right structure, and then Venus is about love, the love flowing. So for the love to flow, you need that structure. In that would be an example of an interpretation. So an astrologer can go one by one through all 12 houses, which are 12 different areas of sky, which are 12 different areas of life, see what constellation is giving its energy, what planet is there, and how that planet and sign are interacting together to give a certain energy to that area of life. And energy is there influencing the person, but the person has free will. The person may choose to do something different. The person may have chosen, you know what, I don't want a relationship. So even though the energy is there, they haven't taken of that energy. If they get in a relationship, these are the energies that will show up, right? So for instance, somebody asks about career questions a lot. So I'm going to look at the 10th house and I'm going to say, oh, Gemini is ruling. Let's say somebody has Gemini in the 10th house. Gemini is an energy of, I see both sides of everything. Gemini are like the twins, the man and the woman, both sides. So I'll say, in your career, you can't decide on a direction. You've got all these ideas and you want to go different directions, right? And so Gemini is the only planet there. Let's say Mercury's there, then it's even more of that energy, because Mercury is also a moving, fast, changing. So it's kind of a changing energy and you can't settle down on the right career. So once the astrologer is able to establish what they've seen in the birth chart and how it relates to the person's life, then as an astrologer, I would then ask, how is this energy showing up for you? And as the client explains to me what's going on in their life, I'm able to then root cause it back to the planets and see what's out of balance. And perhaps there's not enough of that energy, or there's too much of that energy. And so then the astrologer will then recommend remedies. Remedies is a very big thing in Vedic astrology, ways to deal with that energy, ways to harmonize that energy. Oh, my career is all over the place, I want to stabilize it. Well, Saturn is a stabilizing force, so we might give a remedy specifically for the planet Saturn to sort of stabilize that energy in that area of life. So that is how a Vedic astrologer does their analysis based on a birth chart.